Local stories, local people. We're taking you inside Western Mass news. It's the Even Better Western Mass podcast with Dave Madsen.
Welcome to this week's edition of the Even Better Western Mass podcast. Wherever you are, I hope you're doing well. This week, we're going to focus on the Jimmy Fund, specifically the Jimmy Fund Golf Program. For nearly 40 years, golfers all across New England and beyond have raised money for the Jimmy Fund through golf tournaments, millions of dollars. My guest this week is Amy McCallum, the Assistant Vice President for the Jimmy Fund Golf Program. COVID-19 had a major impact on the number of golf tournaments this summer, but with a lot of ingenuity, the golf program has still managed to raise millions of dollars in the fight against cancer. Amy and I talk about how they've done that and how you can help.
Thank you for doing this with me. Let's put it this way. Having been affiliated with the Jimmy Fund Golf Program for so many years, this has probably been the toughest year you've ever seen.
Yes, for sure. Yes, I think for the entire world, but for fundraising events across the board, of course, yeah. But we've been trying to be really positive and look at things through rose-colored glasses, and a lot of great things have come out of this season so far. So it's all been good. I mean, different and challenging, and we've had to modify a lot of things. But yeah, so.
Well, I think back to the last time I saw you in person, it was in March, and it was right at the kickoff of the Jimmy Fund golf season. And we knew COVID was around, but at that point in time, didn't know that it would, what it would do to everything, and just basically shut everything down, including the golf program.
Yeah, so that was our kickoff thank you event in March. And then I think the next week, everyone was working from home and everything had started, and we didn't know what we were looking at for a golf season or a fundraising season, and we really didn't until July. Didn't really get any answers, and that's when things kind of started coming to fruition for us. But definitely a different year for sure.
Now, on a normal golf season, how many golf tournaments would the Jimmy Fund Golf Program have?
Yeah, so we have about 120 with the program. So that our New England golf season runs May through October generally. We have a few others across the country, but it's generally 120. So we've had 15 in-person golf tournaments to date with 5 to go. So we've gone from 120 to 20. Which has been, it's been challenging. But the great thing about all of this is all these tournament committees and great people who are running these events have continued. The majority of them have continued their fundraising for Dana-Farber in some way and really got creative. So that's been wonderful to see.
Let's talk, before we get to that, because I do want to talk about that, as far as a little bit of the history of the Jimmy Fund Golf Program. We go back at least 40 years now, pretty much.
We're going into 39 officially. Yep. So we are, as far as we know, we are the oldest and largest charity golf program in the country. So 39 years and about $140 million raised for cancer research at Dana-Farber through charity golf tournaments, which is just incredible.
That really is. I mean, when you think of it, it's an amazing amount of money to be able to raise, and the fact that how important that money is to the Jimmy Fund and the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute.
Yeah, I mean, it's that the money that comes from these events is flexible funding, so the institute can really use it where it's needed most, and it's just very, very important to keep things going in the cancer research world. But again, people have been just so generous this year, and the Jimmy Fund, which is the events fundraising group, the Jimmy Fund overall actually is probably going to have one of, if not the best fundraising year it's ever had outside of the events group, which is incredible.
That really is. I mean, considering everything that's gone on, Well, I mean, we both know, and having been associated with the Jimmy Fund for so many years, just how loyal and how dedicated people are in New England and actually all over the world to the Jimmy Fund and the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute.
Yes, incredible. We have such a staunch group of supporters in New England, but like you said, across the world. And it's incredible. Everyone's been coming together. They established an emergency relief fund very early on to help with the effects of COVID was having at the Institute. And they were able to raise, I think, $11 million just through those efforts very quickly. So for people to be so generous during such a challenging time, I mean, it's incredible.
What has been the impact of the COVID pandemic on the institute itself? I mean, what kind of precautions have been taken there?
Yeah, so they definitely have seen, especially in the early stages, a decrease in patient volume. People not wanting to come to get their normal checkups. That clearly has changed. They've put in so many precautions throughout this whole time to keep staff, to keep patients safe. At one time, patients, I think they're only allowed one person to come in with them to their appointments. Every step of the way, there's, protective equipment that they're giving. We've gotten amazing feedback from patients on how safe they feel at the Institute during their treatment and how appreciative they are for Dana-Farber for putting that structure in place to make them feel so safe. So so we're slowly the patient volume, people are coming back, which is great.
Sure, and the importance of that, because these are folks, their treatment can't wait.
Right. We've been saying it, cancer doesn't stop, and it hasn't. And we need to keep going. And we have. But yeah, it's just been a bizarre and challenging year, but everybody's just rising to the occasion.
So when the year started, of course, and we had the kickoff in March, is that, okay, we're going to have another great year. And I know last year was well over $8 million.
Yes.
So quickly, how did you have to readjust? It's like everybody did. I mean, very quickly, within a matter of 2-3 weeks to a month, people were doing things. The whole business model changed.
Yes, very, very drastically. It was a little bit of a wait and see for us. Clearly golf, you can socially distance, and I think golf, you can't even get a tee time these days. It's a very popular sport because you're doing it outside and you can stay distance and it's safe. So we were thinking, wow, we're going to be okay maybe. But there's an event component to all of our charity golf events. So that piece kind of suffered. And I think people were a little bit, hesitant to get people to gather together, rightfully so. So in the early stages, we put together a manual for people how to think about and modify their golf events for safety and to meet state protocols. And I think that was really helpful for the folks that actually took that step. And we're going to do that again for the upcoming season. Like, what lessons have we learned? And I think I just heard that finally you can have 2 riders in a cart. That was a big logistical challenge for a lot of our events, to be honest, and probably a big reason why people took the year off from their actual golf event.
Yeah, plus the element of the unknown. Let's talk about how some of the tournament committees have kind of regrouped, and they've gotten really creative in how they've been holding their events.
Yes, yep. Like I said, it's been an incredible outpouring of people coming together. For the most part, everyone has just kind of sent out a really nice letter and made an appeal to their golfers and sponsors saying, hey guys, we're taking a year off, understandably so, but like we said, cancer doesn't stop and we still want to support the great work at Dana-Farber. And the outpouring and response has just been incredible. People have stepped up to the plate, made the same gifts they've made in the past year. The fundraising is still continuing, even though the golf season's winding down. Then other people, there's been, people who are selling t-shirts, fun ideas like that, just people getting creative across the board.
Well, the good thing is the golf season is not going to wind down until there's snow on the ground. So
yes, exactly. No, like I said, I've heard you can't get a tee time ever.
It's been crazy. And I know a lot of folks have been kind of holding virtual events too, right? Where they're playing golf, but they're still raising money for Jimmy Fun Golf.
Yep, absolutely. We had a big Stop and Shop runs a big golf tournament for us, and they didn't have their actual golf tournament this year, but they had a great online virtual celebration where everyone came together, and we celebrated $550,000 raised from them, which was incredible in the year of a pandemic. Who would have thought? And we heard from some great speakers from Dana-Farber, and everyone was just left feeling really inspired and great about what they had done.
I think one of the things that has always impressed me about the supporters of the Jimmy Fun Golf program, that in spite of how business has been tough, and for many of them this year, I mean, their businesses are hurting too, but their commitment to Jimmy Fun Golf and Dana-Farber is always there. Always.
Yep. Always. We're so blessed with just the greatest community of supporters, and Jimmy Fun Golf especially. It's like a little family. Usually it's about 15 to 18,000 people in one season. But everyone kind of knows each other, and we have these great celebration events where we come together, and the camaraderie is amazing. And a lot of these people, we've been so lucky, have been part of the program for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, which is just amazing.
It really is. And I mean, having been part of the Jeffrey Vinnick Memorial out here that we ended after 40 years last year.
Yes.
And it's true. We all become sort of a family for sure. Now, let's talk about family. Let's talk about your Jimmy Fun Golf staff there. Now, my understanding is you folks have not been allowed to go because of the restrictions at Dana-Farber, been allowed to go to any of these tournaments. So you're operating from there.
Yep. So we've been working from home since early March. The entire staff of our philanthropy office has, which, I feel grateful for that. Dana-Farber is really trying to keep everybody safe. So the events that did come to fruition, we were not able to attend them in person, but did our best to support from afar. Which is such a testament to the relationships that we have with all these great people running our events. So being part of all their committee meetings leading up and kind of strategizing, hey, our staff can't be there, unfortunately, to fill that role that we normally do, but let's get ahead of this, and what can we put in place that would be helpful for them to have a successful day without us being there. And it's been great. Yeah.
I think part of it too is what we've all learned is I can see the sun shining through my shot here. That there are different ways of doing business, and there are some positive things that have come out about this is from this whole COVID thing, as far as how you can deal with things and how quickly you can adjust.
Yes, absolutely. I think I'll talk about it in a minute, but we pivoted to an event that we run internally. We couldn't have an in-person event, and we took it virtual, created the concept, launched the website in less than a month, which just is like unheard of. So it's shown us how we can be creative, how we can be nimble. And you just got to learn to adapt. You sink or swim, right?
Yeah. If you can adapt to this, you can adapt to anything. Let's talk about that.
Exactly. Yeah. So, we put together very early on, back in June, when we saw that, hey, we can't have in-person events and gather like we normally do, this initiative called the Jimmy Fun Golf Challenge. And so it's been going strong since July. We're running it through, we've extended it through Masters weekend. So I think it's going to wrap up on November 18th or so. And the basic concept is basically to give golfers an opportunity to fundraise on their own time, on their own accord, whether it's, hey, I'm just going out today to play 18 and I'm dedicating it to Dana-Farber. And then they get a fundraising website and can just send appeals out to their friends and family to make a gift to support their efforts. So we've had some people get really, really creative. There's a pharmacist at Dana-Farber who's having his second child and started a closest to the pin contest. That's probably one of the most creative I've seen, where everyone guessed like the weight and height and eye color of his baby, and at the end they get a prize. But he usually participates in our Sunrise to Sunset event, which is a really neat 36-hole event that we typically have and couldn't have this year. So he said the closest to the pin contest is always my favorite. So I'm replicating it virtually. So that was a fun, creative example. A few other folks have done their own 36-hole Sunrise to Sunset challenge on their own, which was great to see. We've had a high school golf team get together, and a bunch of those golfers had been affected by cancer and asked for gifts in memory or in honor of their loved ones. So it's been wonderful, and every day we're still going. We launched this in July, and just yesterday I think we had 2 or 3 more people sign up. So it's been incredible.
The good thing about the Jimmy Fund Golf program too is there's really no age limit. You talk about high schools, and we hear so many things about young people today, and they don't want to get involved. And I've always believed that the Jimmy Fund and the Jimmy Fund Golf program is proof that they do want to get involved, because cancer touches them as much as it touches any one of us.
Yes, for sure. And that demographic is, something we've been trying to build over the past couple of years and engage kind of a younger audience. We have a very generous volunteer who runs a mini golf initiative called Putting for Patients. And he goes around to local high schools across the state and talks to the student council representatives, and the kids get together and have this great mini golf day, and it raises a bunch of money for pediatric cancer research. It's incredible.
We're proud out here too, because I think that the Jimmy Fund Mini Golf Initiative really kind of started out here in Western Mass, didn't it?
Yes, and this is actually today. I have a check presentation later. It's Bell and Hudson Puttathon Week, virtual Puttathon Week. So that's another great example of a creative adaptation. That group, who typically has it's a large scale outdoor mini golf event, and it's great in Belchertown. And they knew they couldn't have it gather in person, and they've taken it virtual. They've gotten really creative with an online auction. And they raised $55,000. So we're doing a virtual check presentation later this afternoon.
I know they've done amazing things with that golf tournament. The fact that I know for many, many years, it was just normal golf tournaments, the way the way you would expect them to be. But looking for new and different ways to get more people involved in Jimmy Fund Golf. And that mini golf concept is, it's one of the best things I think I've heard of.
Yeah, it's great because not everyone golfs, right? So, but everyone can mini golf. So it's attractive to that audience of kids, families, non-golfers. So we were hoping with the Jimmy Fund Golf Challenge, for next year maybe we'll grow it out a little bit more. But
Sure.
Having a mini golf component to that might get some of the kids and families involved. So, but yeah, mini golf's great. Who doesn't love to play mini golf?
Exactly. The tournament in Belchertown has really kind of been the catalyst for a few other mini golf tournaments around in New England too, right?
Yes, for sure. And they were actually the inspiration and mentor that other gentleman who does the events with all the high schools across the state. So again, just to talk about like that great community of Jimmy Fund golfers and supporters. it's wonderful. It's wonderful to see them all helping each other and rooting each other on, and just being there for each other. It's great.
Well, that is, and I think that's one of there are so many fun things about Jimmy Fun Golf, but the fact that we're willing to help, and well, our goal is the same, is to help in the fight against cancer in children and adults.
Yes, exactly. That's always the goal.
So, so we're looking at the challenge for this year through the Masters, but now as you look ahead to 2021, again, we're dealing with the unknown.
Yeah, big time. Yep, but it's very much an unknown. We're having great conversations. People are very hopeful and already excited to start planning and have set their dates. But I think, we have to be a little bit cautious, cautiously optimistic, I guess, right, in our planning. And we're looking at it through the lens of, we might be in the same boat that we are now, and that's okay. It might be a couple years to climb out of this, but how can we now? We know a lot more than we did at the start of the last golf season. So, can people have in-person events? Yes, and these are the ways that you can modify them to be successful. How can you go virtual, and get creative? So I think a lot of people last year just, it was a scary time, and then people were losing their jobs and their kids were home from school. They didn't have the mental capacity to wrap their head around that. So maybe this upcoming golf season, we're going to be there to kind of coach them through all the different alternatives and see, what can we do and be optimistic.
Well, at least knowing too that the option of golf is out there. I mean, at the beginning of the season there were so many restrictions because of the unknown, but a lot of those restrictions are gone now. Like you said, you can have two people to a golf cart, and that really does open things up.
It does. It makes a big difference. So hopefully, again, who knows where we're going to be next May, June, but hopefully we'll be in a little bit better place with the restrictions, and that'll help open up these golf events. But if not, we're here to kind of help people get creative.
Yeah, and that's the creativity that there are ideas hiding back there that just need a little catalyst to come on out. Now, if someone is thinking of and would like to run an event for the Jimmy Fun Golf program, if they have some new ideas, what do they do? How do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, the best way to go about it is to go to our website, jimmyfungolf.org, and you'll see all our contact information there. The Jimmy Fun Golf Challenge is listed there with contact information, anyone looking to learn more about that. But we have a dedicated person on our team, and all of that contact information is right there. Please reach out. We'd love to hear your ideas. And even, planning maybe next year is not going to be in the cards for some people, but we say take at least a year to plan your golf events. As you know, Dave, it is a labor of love, and there are a lot of details. And I think it shocks people in the first year how much goes into these events. So even planning for 2022, we're here to have those conversations.
Well, the other thing too, Amy, let's talk about, as far as the overall impact on the Jimmy Fund. So many events have, you talk about the radio telethon and the Jimmy Fund walk and the ice cream challenge that's usually in June. There have been so many events that have been put off, but when you were talking about this being just still a good fundraising year for the Jimmy Fund, I just find that remarkable.
It has been. I think we almost surprised ourselves a little bit. But just, a lot of those signature events that we run internally have not been able to happen, or we've had to pivot to virtual. We just had our big Boston Marathon Jimmy Fund walk, which typically is 9,000 people, walking the Boston Marathon route. So they kind of reimagined that and made it virtual, walk your way. That just happened this past Sunday. I think they had over 6,000 people do their Jimmy Fun walks wherever they wanted. So on a treadmill, at the beach, and it's been great. And the fundraising it's there. It's really not down that much. So that was really inspiring to see. And then radio telethon won't be happening this year. They hope to be back next year, better than ever. But yeah, overall, the Jimmy Fund events we're down in fundraising, but really not that much. So
Yeah, that's good to hear. And I think the other part of it too is, we touched upon this right at the very beginning, but the real importance of this money when there are no restrictions on the money raised by the golf tournament or any of the other events for research or anything else.
right, like I said, it's crucial. These doctors who we call it flexible funding. So when a doctor has an idea and they're trying to get something forward, but they need more funds, that's the pot of money they go to kind of make that next clinical trial move forward. So it's really important to the Institute, to the money that comes from the events is just it's essential.
Well, I know I've missed Jimmy Fun Golf this year, although we did have
Me
Carla
too.
Cosenzi's tournament out here this year.
That's right, the Cosenzi event. That's a great. We have so many amazing supporters in the Western Mass community that we're so appreciative of. But yes, the Cosenzi charity event is a big one. I heard that was amazing, and thank you for you emceed, right?
I did. Well, the fact you look at that tournament and, Carla Cosenzi really with her committee but how much that's grown over the last few years. That tournament hasn't been around all that long.
I think they're going on, don't quote me, 12 or 13 years now. So,
Yeah.
Yep. And they certainly have grown. They do a great job. It's from the moment you get there to the moment you leave, they've left no detail unthought of. And it's just a great day, a great experience for the golfers and the sponsors.
Well, you look at that too, is that when I think someone thinking of starting up a tournament or some kind of event for Jimmy Fun Golf, that, oh gosh, I see how much this one's raising and that one's raising. But you look back and the fact that all of these tournaments started small.
Yeah, that's a lot of them do. Yeah, our largest one, which is now its own foundation, started I think 26 years ago, and they raised I think $3,500, and they gave us $1.2 million last year. And the same with the Vinnick event that you were worked so hard on for 40 years. I think same thing, less than $5,000 in the first year, and we got over 550,000 last year when they closed out. So yeah, it's. I find that golf events are addicting. It's like you hear when people run a marathon. It's hard to do, but you learn so much through the process, and it's so inspiring that the second you're done, you just keep going.
Well, I think a good example of that too is how the Vinnick ended for us here last year.
Yeah.
But in the fall, we met again saying, well, we can't stop this. We need to do something else out here. But that also put on hold this year.
Right. Yes, understandably so. But, I think everyone's hopeful for 2021 and to make something happen there for sure.
Well, the fact is with Jimmy Fun Golf, it's no matter what walk of life you come from, whether you've got a lot of money or you don't have much money at all, you can do something to help. But the fact is that in some way, shape, or form, all of our lives are touched by cancer.
Yes, absolutely. Yep, absolutely.
And what a great way to give back by doing golf. And Amy,
Yeah.
so I'm hoping next year we're back to normal. But like you said, if it has to be 2022, it is what it is.
Exactly. I think we're all very hopeful. We would love to be back on the fairways with everyone very soon, but you got to be a little bit realistic, and we'll just get creative and get through. I think if we could get through 2020, we can get through anything, right?
I think that's all of our attitudes too.
I think it has to be, right?
Oh, otherwise we'd be going crazy.
Yeah. So
Amy,
I think, yeah.
No, but thank you for all you do and all your team does in the fight against cancer.
Yes, well, it's our pleasure, and thank you, Dave, for all of your support for so long. We certainly appreciate it, and we're excited to see you back at the podium at all of our events next summer, hopefully.
If you'd like to learn more about the Jimmy Fun Golf program, go to jimmyfun.org. Thanks for watching or listening to this week's edition of the Even Better Western Mass podcast. Stay safe, stay well, and if you can, join me next week.